It's great to be with you guys tonight, and I think I was supposed to be here maybe 2 years ago, and we've had some scheduling issues. I made it to the Lincoln Legatus, and now glad to be with you, but thank you for the invitation, and sorry for the rescheduling that we had to do whenever that was. But I'm just going to give you an update of the work and the mission of Creighton University, and then see if you have any questions or feedback for me. And go ahead and check the score when you need to on the Blue Jay game, because I'll be interested myself. We're playing Xavier tonight. I'm on the Xavier board. It's a great school in Cincinnati.
Xavier's ahead by 6.
Xavier's ahead. Well, we're aware of that over at this table, so we got to get into halftime and regroup. So listen, I'm going to give you some statistics about the university. We have been #1 for U.S. News and World Report for the regional rankings for 16 years in a row, and we love boasting that. This is probably the last year of that ranking, because the Carnegie classification for colleges and universities changed the way that the Creighton University is categorized. So we're trying to message a lot of people about what that means in regard to how we're adjudicated on all sorts of issues with the U.S. News and World Report. We're pleased with the recategorization. It's more accurate to the complexity and the programming at Creighton University, which is professional and doctoral level degrees. So we're also trying, Rob here is on our board, we're going to message to the board so they're not upset when we can't say next year that we're 17 years in a row #1 for U.S. News and World Report. Those rankings are interesting sometimes. Those of us in education also can balk at them and say that they're not all that helpful, but when we dig into them, there are a few things that we like. So I'm going to name 6 different indicators that I think demonstrate really good success for our mission at Creighton University. One of the ones that we're most excited about, we're one of 90 schools nationwide named. That's not a ranking, but it's a grouping. So one of 90 different schools recognized for undergraduate research. And until just this year, we were the only Catholic school named for effectiveness in undergraduate research. So if there's any leprechauns out there, or bulldogs, Notre Dame, Georgetown, they weren't on the list, but Creighton University was. And those are great institutions, but we like to make the point that Creighton has done very well with our seasoned faculty working directly with the youngest of our students in their laboratories and their research projects, bringing our students into their work. And that has gained incredible notoriety. A significant percentage of our students indicate an interest in professional school or job placement that requires even more training and credentials. So this is a real leg up for them when they do that. The other one is very closely related, and we've got Mr. Blazek here, who's in the Heider College of Business, and this is where a lot of this happened, but we're one of 40 schools named in the United States for internships. And this is also remarkable. So as we're giving real great hands-on experience in the classrooms and the laboratories and projects with our faculty, we're doing the exact same thing out in the corporations and the clinics and other kinds of venues and arenas where our students are getting job-ready experience, if not the stepping stone to get into a job immediately when they graduate. We're also at about 99% job placement or graduate school placement each year anyway. So we're really excited about those. We're also #1 in the nation for veteran education, which also, 2 things strike me there. One is that it lets us celebrate the men and women who have served our country in some way and are looking to refashion their lives in the, with more education and credentials and move on beyond the military. But also that Creighton is a good place to do that continuing education options are readily available. And that's an important marker, I'm going to talk about this in just a minute, for colleges and universities today, and the enrollment demographics, that there's less younger people. So we're looking to be more available for continuing education options. A couple of others that I find interesting, we're one of 47 different institutions, again, for service learning. When I started at Creighton, as Rob said, in 2015 as president, we named 4 particular presidential initiatives: global programming, sustainability, diversity, and service learning. And already with service learning efforts, we're one of just under 50 institutions recognized for effectiveness. Another way of hands-on learning for our students, and this is with the community of Omaha, with the agencies in the north and the south of us, in different kinds of populations. We're #1, or rather number 17 in the nation for finance and we're also number 15 in the nation for accounting. So the Hyder College of Business wins in big ways for some of these great statistics. We're just under 9,000 students at Creighton University, and we're up 250 from just a year ago. So our enrollment numbers have been very, very positive and good at all categories, undergraduate, graduate, and professional. And these are the worst years in a generation or more for enrollment demographics. There's just less young people. That takes a nosedive, a precipitous nosedive in 2024, 2025, around then. So we're trying to prepare for our future when there's just less traditional mainstream students coming into colleges and universities. But that we're doing so well right now is very encouraging. The class that came in this year is 1,155. It was another, I think, 60 or 65 up from a year ago. And they are very high quality students. I like telling our alums, I know we have a couple alums in the room, but I like telling our alums that they may not have gotten in a few years ago because our selectivity has really been very impressive and the credentials are good. We are 37% of the class this year that came in for a class of 2022, 37% are the top 10% of their high school, and nearly a quarter of them, almost 25%, have a 30 or higher on their ACT examination. We just announced we're going test optional. This was in the World Herald just a few days ago, test optional as a university, and that's good for access and interest for students really from different kinds of populations and experiences in their lives. We'll still take test scores, and many of them will still give them to us, and so we'll still be able to have a way to have a metric to understand their successes that come into Creighton University. Our geographic profile is also very strong. We're up a couple of hundred just this year in Nebraska. And so in our dean in the College of Business, our dean over in Arts and Sciences, and then our dean in nursing, we're very good at going out to some of the local high schools to continue to remember, especially the Catholic ones, reminding them about the education at Creighton University. A lot of kids want to leave home and get a different experience in a different city. And I understand that. I did the same thing. I don't tell that to young people, but we are up again in Nebraska, which we really celebrate. And that's been a concerted effort for us to go out to prep in Mount Michael and Marion and Duchesne just to talk about Catholic education, Catholic higher education, our Jesuit framework. But more than 80% of our students come from out of state, and a good 50% of them end up staying here in Omaha. So the impact and interest in the city and the state is not insignificant. 23% of our students are legacy, which means there's some sort of Blue Jay connection, and then 15% are first generation students. If I could double that, I would. Those first generation students are stepping into an experience that their families just did not have, and college education is an investment in a lifetime, and it creates the kinds of relationships and opportunities for learning and hands-on experience that are really important in life. That takes, for us, resources and scholarship dollars usually for first generation students. So we have a campaign that we're looking at, and we want the face of the campaign to be scholarship dollars just for these kinds of students in particular. A few things about the projects. If you're up and down Cummings Street and going down to Blue Jay basketball games at the CHI Health Center, or I know I always stumble on that. I'm still trying to get that name down. And then TD Ameritrade Park or out to the airport, you see our new School of Dentistry, an $85 million building that we opened just earlier this year. We celebrate that building for its facilities, what it can do for a larger class size in the School of Dentistry. We went from 85 first-year dentists to 115, so we've increased our learning opportunities there. I think the best thing about the School of Dentistry is its clinic, which can accommodate an extra 3,000 people in a given year. Down the block in the old Boyne building, we could take in 12,000 patients. They'd come back 2 or 3 or 4 times a year, 44,000 visits. Now we can accommodate 15,000 different individuals, and that's at almost $8 million of discounted services, if not pro bono, for folks who can't afford dental care. So it really taps into something significant about the mission and identity as our institution as Catholic and Jesuit and the School of Dentistry and its services to this city. They also go out to Indian reservations. They also go down to our campus in the Dominican Republic, so their outreach is also remarkable. We had a big announcement in September. Rob and I will be in Phoenix just next week with the Board of Trustees. But my board chair, Mike McCarthy, we went down to Phoenix in September and announced that Creighton University is building another medical school. When I talk to presidents of colleges and universities around the United States who have medical schools, they say the worst thing about being a president is having a medical school. You're going to do 2 of them now. But we're excited to expand the mission of Creighton Medicine and Health Sciences. In many ways, we're replicating the programs we have here in Omaha. We're also increasing some enrollment numbers in Omaha School of Medicine. So if people think we're shifting services to Phoenix, we're not. We're expanding our mission and our education opportunities. Phoenix is ripe for more of this kind of education. Phoenix has been begging us since we started a relationship in 2005. We intensified that in 2012 by sending 42 M3 third year and 42 M4 students to finish out their medical education at St. Joseph's Hospital with our faculty down there. So the new medical school will be open in 2021. We're going to break ground hopefully sometime in July and start that project, and then fill out with nursing, pharmacy, OT, PT, and physician assistant program. So the Phoenix thing has been really exciting. Back here for health sciences, and also related to our programs in Phoenix, is that we've been moving forward rather aggressively, in some ways pioneering a new pedagogy for healthcare education. So there's something distinctive about Creighton Healthcare, and it's this collaborative care model. You know that we sold our hospital just a couple years ago, Old St. Joe's, a painful decision, painful moment in the history of the university, but a good decision and the right decision. But we sold that to New Style Housing, and we sold it for $1. They're putting $110 million of redevelopment into it, just terrific for us. We built a bridge together to connect the hospital from across 75 North over to our campus. There's going to be 1,100 residents there. It's 65% complete right now. But in providing healthcare services for the Northside community, our new healthcare partner, CHI, we built this new clinic just on north side of Cumming Street, the university campus for CHI. This is built in a collaborative care model, which brings all the healthcare practitioners to the same workspace. And the students who are working with them are also in that same workspace. But it's a team-based approach, and we're also already noticing that it lets medicine and healthcare be more affordable, more efficient, and I think more personal, because you have a team working on the needs of a patient instead of a patient having to go from one place to the next in different appointments. We looked at 250 healthcare utilizers, patients, if you will, in the last 6 months of our hospital, and we followed them over to this new clinic, the same 250. Within that first 6 months of being opening, we noticed a decrease of $4 million in the system, just on healthcare. So we think we're onto something with this, and it's a lot about bringing our healthcare practitioners in the same workspace to figure out, does this patient need more consultation with a pharmacist, with a doc for back pain, or with a social worker, so we can dispatch the right kind of care more quickly and immediately. Not unrelated to the mission and identity of Creighton, and we talk about ourselves as Catholic and Jesuit. We talk about the faith experiences for our students. St. John's is still the heart of our campus. The different kinds of programs for getting our kids engaged in their faith lives. The service work that they do is the second kind of category. The Schlegel Center for Service and Justice gets our students not only in and out of neighborhoods through the city, but around the nation at a couple of meaningful times during the year to 30 or 40 different cities with hundreds of kids doing service work trips. But how and what we study is not insignificant. And I think how and what we study is an important part of talking about a Catholic higher education. And part of that is, a lot of that is a commitment to the humanities, that our students are still studying theology and philosophy and history and language and literature, the core curricular studies of a liberal arts education. And we still require that, and our students negotiate that in very significant ways. But we just started something called the Kingfisher Institute. And the Kingfisher Institute not only, lets our core curriculum still be effective and important for our students, but it's connecting with the College of Business or the School of Medicine or other parts on campus just to keep bringing ethics and discernment and empathy and the other kinds of things of the humanities in and around the different colleges of the university. I want to end with a few kind of statistics that I took, or numbers or indicators of how we are Jesuit and Catholic. We have 40 Jesuits on campus still, and maybe half or more, 20, 22 of them, have some sort of contract with the university. I just talked about Xavier a minute ago. Last year, Xavier had a Jesuit community of 8 and 1 Jesuit, the president. And most Jesuit schools don't have a Jesuit president anymore, a priest president. Half of them do not. Half of the 28 have lay people, and they have great leadership. But Xavier's 1 Jesuit with a contract with the university was their president. They had no one in the classrooms, no one in campus ministry. So Creighton is poised, I think, with good Jesuit interaction and leadership. The 40 Jesuits are very visible. 20 or 22 of them have a contract or some sort of engagement on a daily basis with us. And then we also have a very strong mission and ministry program, which brings our faculty and our staff into formation and training for folks who want to embrace their faith and bring it into their work lives in some way. The province of Creighton and Omaha is part of the Midwest province of the Society of Jesus, so it's the Dakotas and Wyoming and Nebraska and all the way over to Cincinnati and other parts of Ohio. Headquartered in Chicago, and they're just now doing strategic planning. Where do you put younger Jesuits these days? You just keep spreading them out and sending them here and there and just filling slots? Or do you look at places like Creighton and say this is a good place to put Jesuits because there's a critical mass there already in a way they can live together in community and be supported? So we're just in some interesting conversations along those lines. We'd started some listening sessions. We've done 2 for students and then 2 for faculty and staff on the sex abuse crisis with the Catholic Church. We had little interest, to be honest, which also I talked to them, close friends with Rob, and I know the president of Boston College because he's on the Creighton board. They had a very similar experience. They had little interest in the students on some of these issues, but the faculty and staff had more interest in talking about that. So we just did listening sessions with no answers. And Creighton will look for ways to do some programming, maybe turning to our faculty to do a presentation or discussion on the sex abuse crisis. Or maybe we can bring in a keynote speaker and do something for the Archdiocese of Omaha. Archbishop Lucas was in the office the other day. We try and connect routinely, either by communications or stopping in to see one another. And he and I are exploring some possibilities too. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure what we're going to do in that regard. 62% of our kids are Catholic. We're better than Marquette. I used to work at Marquette, and they had 50%. And that's whatever that metric means, but we do have a good cohort of Catholic students at the university. We have the Magis Catholic Teacher Corps program, which brings graduates from around the United States with education degrees to work and have placement in different schools and live in community around the United States. And that's been very successful for us. We also started the Catholic Social Teaching program just a couple of years ago. We had a couple $1 million actually from one of our faculty members who retired and had some resources and wanted to help us with our Catholic identity by providing Catholic social teaching programs. We do 20 masses a day, or rather 20 masses in the course of a week. That'd be a lot in one day. We have numerous retreats through the course of the semester, but the 2 key ones always have a waiting list. So I said, if there's a waiting list, do another one. There's a demand. So now we're doing 3, and they're still filled up, and there's still a waiting list. But we take them out to our retreat center for a weekend. It's a very traditional retreat that some of you know, the Ignatian-style retreats, where they have some time building relationships and trust with each other in conversations, talking about their faith lives. We offer confessions and a mass, and then some closes. So through the course of a weekend, it's been a very good Creighton experience. I think the last thing I'd say is just that our online ministries program continues to impact literally millions of people in a given day from all around the world for daily reflections and other kinds of resources right on our webpage. So we've been very thrilled with that. There's lots more I can say about Creighton or Blue Jay basketball or any of our programs. Does anyone want to ask any questions or offer any feedback about Creighton University?